Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vision of oneness. In Vedanta, they use two words for seeing. In Sanskrit, the words would be pratiti and drishti. Pratiti, perception. Drishti, the interpretation of perception. Drishti, so something you perceive through eyes and ears and sense organs. And something we perceive through mind, that is perception in the mind or intellect. Puja Swami was very fond of using the word vision. That we can perceive something, but our understanding can be quite different from what we perceive. For example, if I am standing in front of parallel mirrors, I will perceive a number of Swamis. That's the perception. But in my mind, how many Swamis do I see? Even though my eyes reveal the number of Swamis in the parallel mirrors, in my mind, I perceive one Swami. This is our daily experience. And this reveals a very fundamental understanding that we have. We may or may not know the technical words, but it's quite amazing that even when we perceive number of Swamis or number of reflections, persons, in our mind, we only perceive one. In the Vedantic language, it can say that the one is real, the one Swami is real, it appears as many. The many is appearance, and the one is real. Here, when I look at my reflection or reflections, I am not in any way confused or deluded to believe that there are many Swamis, although it can happen. Here is a couple. The husband is in the bathroom and the wife has prepared breakfast and laid the breakfast on a table for one person because husband is getting ready to go to work. And this fellow comes and says to the wife, "Hey, not one plate, we need 2 plates. Why? There are 2 persons. Where did you see 2 persons? Yeah, I come, I show you where I saw 2 persons. So he invites his wife into the bathroom to look at the mirror. Oh, there are 3, not 2. So this also can happen. That one may take as real what one sees, in which case she would have to make 3 plates. So there is something that is real and something that is apparent. This is the most important subject matter of Vedanta, of distinguishing between what is real and what is apparent. We do this every day. As I said, when we look at the reflections, some time ago, there was a play of Nachiketa enacted here. There was Nachiketa talking so smartly, and then there was Yamaraja, and then there was the father. You saw all those people? The Yamaraja really looked like Yamaraja. You might think the real Yamaraja has come. So it is likely that we may think that they have in fact commissioned from heaven Yamaraja to come here. But how about the parents of that boy who acted as Yamaraja? The pratiti, the perception is of Yamaraja, but drushti, the vision is of my son. So how this kind of a process takes place in our mind, that how our mind recognizes what part of what I see is unreal and what part I see that is real. So mother recognizes the Yamaraja is a role, is in the costume, whereas the one playing the role is my son. So something takes place in the mind. If the eyes give the information of a person or a boy who is dressed in a certain way, who looks very much like Yamaraja, but my mind subtracts something from there. My mind recognizes that this Yamaraja part is an appearance. In Vedantic words, it is mithya, an appearance. And my son is real. So wherever an appearance is, I may give another technical word. This Yamaraja is superimposition upon my son. My son is real, Yamaraja is unreal, superimposition or mithya in Vedantic terms. The sun is satyam and Yamaraja is mithya. So when we have this understanding, there is no problem. Even when I say Yamaraja comes with his mace, very frightening, the one who recognizes is not frightened. You can converse with Yamaraja without being frightened when you know what the reality is. But if he did not know the reality and thought that he was really Lord of Death, he was Yama. He has come here perhaps to snatch away my life. If that was my perception of the mind, my vision, my drishti, my understanding, then my response to that person would have been quite different. My response to that same person is one when I recognize who the real one is, and my response would have been quite different if I took the appearance as real. I would have been frightened, wanted to run away. Here I gave you the example of Yamaraja because it was something evident. The Vedantins always give the example of rope and snake. Where you perceive a snake, where there is rope. When I see the object, a snake, then it creates in me some reactions. I'm frightened. I may have palpitations. Depending upon how sensitive I am, my blood pressure will rise. All these kinds of reactions will happen on account of what my understanding is rather than on account of what the reality is. The reality is that object is a robe, innocent object. When I perceive that object as a snake, then my reactions are different. So the fear which I have, the palpitations I have, all of this is created by not knowing what the reality is. Again, our Swami Viditatmananda used the word ignorance. It is ignorance of what is there which causes in me this wrong perception and wrong understanding, wrong conclusion, which is what brings about all kinds of reactions in me. So Vedanta explains. Number one, that the only difficulty we have in our life is sorrow or sadness. We have no other problem in our life. There are definitely situations in life, but certainly not a problem. The only problem we have is the problem of sadness or sorrow or unhappiness or grief, which is how the Bhagavad Gita started. And all along in our life, we are struggling to become free from grief or sorrow. My conclusion is that what is in front of me is responsible for creating sorrow in me. It may be the spouse, it may be the relatives, it may be the boss, it may be stock market, it may be anything which I consider as responsible for making me unhappy. Vedanta teaches that there is no cause whatever for unhappiness. Swamiji, it's easy for you to say. You have escaped from Swami means escaping from the life. You live the life like we are living. You get married, have children, then you'll find out what sorrow is. Perhaps. It's very interesting how Swami Viditatmananda said an interesting thing. That while he came here as a young student in 1985, as a computer engineer, he told his boss that I may come back in 1 hour, one month, keep my position open. It's very interesting that when I decided to go to, as Swamiji said, Sandipani Sadhanalaya in those days, in 60s, 70s, I told the same thing to my friends and the family members. Don't worry, I'm going to come back. I'm just going for 2.5 hours of vacation. I'll come back. But these people were very emotional. My brother says, no, you make a commitment. So he made me record this, But thank God that, otherwise I would have been there perhaps instead of being here. And also, perhaps grieving, being sad. I'm not suggesting that you're sad or grieving, but in case there is, all that can be due to difference between the teaching that I received and whatever understanding I have, and maybe a lack of that understanding. Vedanta just teaches that it is simply a wrong understanding that causes unhappiness and right understanding that removes unhappiness. It's a nice expression of what Swami Viditatmananda said. When somebody, Swamiji, so have you known the self? This dialogue comes in Upanishad also. Yadi manyase suvedeti the disciple comes and tells the teacher, "Sir, I know the self very well, as a result of teaching." The teacher says, "If you know the self very well, then you don't know." Avijñātam vijānatam vijñātam avijānatam. The Upanishad says, those who say that I know, they do not know, because those who know do not say I know, not that they don't know. So very clever answer was given. Have you known the self? No, the ignorance has gone away. All that is to go in our life is ignorance, with which we are born, and which is what causes this misperception, like perceiving a rope as a snake. So Swamiji, what perception are you talking about? The topic is Vision of Oneness. What is the perception? Perception of manyness. Well, manyness also is not a problem. When I see many Swamis and a number of mirrors, parallel mirrors, the seeing manyness is not a problem. Taking that manyness to be real is a problem. Like a child may look at mirror and think that some other child has come and may start crying or start playing, depending upon how the child is. Or a bird looking at a mirror on this wash basin and packing and perhaps fighting with that bird. How different reactions arise in us when our understanding is wrong. Vedanta urges us to get the right understanding of life. Perception is there, vision can be different. Then I perceive all of you and you perceive me, there is also no problem. The problem is my conclusion that you are different and I am different. This is called division. See, manyness is not the problem. Division is a problem. What is division? That you are not, you exclude me and I exclude you. Is being excluded, that's a problem. So whenever I confront you, the immediate response in my mind is that they are all different and I am different, therefore I am not what they are, I am excluded by you and you feel excluded by me. This being excluded, not included, being divided. And the moment I feel being divided, separate from you, immediately arises in me a sense of lack or want, that I am only this much and not that. I am not what you are, I am just only this much and you are different from me, I am different from me. It is that conclusion or wrong understanding that causes in me the sense of smallness, sense of isolation, sense of limitedness, and a constant struggle on my part to become free from that limitedness. I feel insignificant in the midst of so many, and a constant struggle to become significant, to assert myself, to become visible, in some way to be respected. Constant struggle. And even if I succeed in that struggle, that I manage somehow to get a respect and admiration, do you think that my mind is going to stop there? No. If today 600 people respect me, then I want respect of 1200 people. Then 6,000 people. Meaning that this game of gratification or satisfaction of the ego is a never winning game, always a losing game. But this is what I am doing constantly to become free from sorrow, which is caused by a sense of isolation, a sense of smallness, and therefore a sense of helplessness. Because My attempt always is to attract you, to hold your attention, to control you. And if I feel that I'm successful, that I congratulate myself, I feel proud. If I am not successful, I feel unfair, I feel failure. Various complexes are created in me. For one simple reason, my conclusion that there is duality, there is dvaitam, there is division, that the world is different, I am different. One is different, other is different. World is different, God is different, subject is different, object is different. All these divisions, right now they become the basis of my life. And when there is a division, then one of the two responses will come to me. If I perceive you as very friendly to me, then my response will be that I like you, I want you, I don't want you to go away, please remain there. And if I perceive you as a person or as an entity which is threatening to me, then I dislike you. So understand that when this division or separation is there is going to be a reaction from me towards you as to whether I like you or I dislike you. The likes and dislikes Swamiji talked about. Therefore, the immediate consequence of my perceiving myself as separate from you and perceiving you as separate from me is either I love you or hate you, like or dislike. That's an unfortunate thing. Because I feel insecure. Being so small, limited, isolated, I feel insecure. I want to feel security. I want to feel comfortable. So Swami said, Puja Swami wanted to become, because need for comfort is very important. Not physical comfort only, even emotional comfort. And so I look upon you as the source of my emotional comfort. If you oblige me, then I am happy with you. If you don't oblige me, I am upset with you. Therefore I like you or dislike you. I am attached to you or have an aversion from you. This raga and dvesha is the immediate product of the sense of division, the sense of isolation, sense of smallness and insecurity. This is what happens. And then I want to be secure. Then I go for various things that the world goes for. I go for wealth, fame, power, family, etc., etc. Nothing wrong in any of those things. But when I look upon them as a source of comfort and security, then I have a relationship which is not a very healthy relationship. Then there was an expectation on my part that they should make me happy, they should make me comfortable. So I always relate to you and to everything that is around me as a source of comfort, and I demand that is what you should do to me. In my mind, either an expressed or an expectation that you should make me happy, you should make me comfortable. And you may try. Because of your affection for me, you may try. Swamiji should have made comfortable, should have made happy. So they inquire, what does Swamiji like? Cook that food. What do you want? Bring those clothes. Do things that you think will make me happy or comfortable. But I have my own idiosyncrasies. And therefore, that comfort doesn't last too long. Moment of comfort, the discomfort comes back. So the way we are trying to right now become free from discomfort, from a sense of isolation, insecurity, and the sorrow and the sadness that it causes, is all based on giving reality to this division. And as long as I continue to look upon you as separate from me, regardless of what I do, I can never feel totally comfortable. As the Upanishad said, Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. As long as I look upon you as separate from me, however close you are, I can never be totally one with you. And a certain suspicion will always be there. Certain apprehension will always be there. And therefore, a potential of fear and unhappiness is there when there is any kind of separation. Udaramantaram kurute atatasya bhayam bhavati. Upanishad says that even if you make a slight division, I mean emotional division, it doesn't matter that the physical level we are different. What is important is that at emotional level, if you can be one, that's quite sufficient for me. If that is where the difference is, I always feel apprehensive or fearful. So Vedanta teaches. And there is nothing other than Vedanta that can really solve this problem of sadness coming from the duality or division. Because Vedanta reveals this most fundamental fact, which was Swami was very fond of quoting always, Sarvam Khalvedam Brahma. What is one. What is Ishvara? What is one? That oneness is the reality and not manyness. Division is not the reality. Non-division, the identity is reality. What do you mean, Swamiji? I see many. How do you call it oneness as reality? As I just said, I may see many reflections and still the oneness is reality. Maybe what I see as many may not be a reality. Meaning that manyness is not reality. Is one alone appearing as many? Imagine there was a new hall, let's say, is fixed with thousands of mirrors. And we take you to watch, give a tour of that new hall, and you enter there. What do you see? Suppose your name is Devadatta. Suppose. Devadatta. Wow. And this actually is a very common story of Vedanta. Of a king who had a dog, and this king was very fond of his dog. But the king also was a very fashionable person. And therefore, he had made for himself a special room in which mirrors were fitted all over. And whenever king went out on a tour, or maybe for a procession in the city, he would first visit this room with the mirrors and look at himself in all different angles and make sure that he looks good. Because when the king goes out, there are people standing in balcony, people standing in all angles, and he will be seen from many angles. He wants to make sure that he looks good from all angles. So this was his practice. But he had instructed his people to make sure that this dog never goes to that room. Always keep the doors of the room closed. Once the king went out like this for a few hours. Unfortunately, his attendants were not careful in closing the doors of the room. And this dog, always smells. And then it is the nature of a dog. If it finds something open, it will just get in. Moment a dog finds an open door, wants to get in. Got into this room. Dog here. Dog there. Dog here. Now he's scared. Started barking. Barking back. Barking in front. And all dogs were barking at him. He jumped at one dog. That fellow jumped at him. When the king returned from his trip after a few hours, he did not find his dog anywhere. He asked his people, "Hey, where is the dog?" And they always started, searching for him. And they realized, they found that this door of the room was open. They went into the room, and what do they find? This dog in a corner in a pool of blood. Dog had a tremendous battle with his enemies. And so also, so many dogs are there. They appear to be there, doesn't mean that there are many dogs. And so many people appear to be there. Why people? So many names and forms appear. Which we take for granted that as many people are there, so many self are there. The reality is that all of you are nothing but mirrors. And when I'm looking at you, I should know that I'm looking at the mirror. It is true that mirrors can be different kinds. There can be concave mirrors, convex mirror, all kinds of mirrors can be there. Some mirrors may show me a fat person, some mirrors may show me a tall person, and all kinds of distortion. Different kinds of swamis may be seen. Maybe beautiful swamis also. Similarly, so many mirrors are there. I look at all of you. Who am I looking at? I'm really looking at none other than my own self. And those mirrors, these are all mirrors created by Ishvara. Each is a beautiful mirror. Each is a perfect mirror. Each one revealing a perfect self. A complete self. Our Swami says, even a child also is a complete person. Because he also knows I am. And therefore, all I need to is just enjoy all the different appearances. Meaning that I knew that all I am looking at the mirrors and all the varieties are nothing but manifestations of myself. All this becomes my glory. But if I did not know that, then like a dog, they all become my friends or enemies, and therefore what happens is nothing but fighting and battle. Thus all the conflicts we have in our life have one simple origin in terms of our wrong understanding that you are different and I am different. That I am one among countless. I have to protect myself from you. I will be threatened by you. I will build up my army. You build up your army. I build up my fences. I build up my big wall. You build up your walls. That's all we do. Is create bigger fences, bigger nuclear weapons, and so on. This is what the world. Why? Because of giving reality to what is really an appearance. This is not a joke. This is reality. Vedanta says, as Bhagavad Gita says, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsu avinaschantam yaf pashyati sa pashyati. Sarveshu, in all the beings, good, bad, indifferent, whoever they are, tishtantam parameshwaram, one Parameshwara, one Lord, one self alone abides in all of you and I. Vinashyatsu. The amazing thing is, the imperishable Lord manifests himself in all perishable costumes. So, this is like, I'm not Yamaraja, but like the costume of that boy. Is this one here? Another costume, third costume, countless costumes. One self, or one Parameshwara, says, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu, in all the beings, tishtantam Parameshwaram. That Parameshwara, that word is used in singular, And sarveshu bhuteshu, beings are used in plural. In all the beings, this one Parameshvara, oneself. Vinashatsu, no doubt, all the costumes are perishable, but the one manifesting through costume is the imperishable. In this perishable costume, the imperishable self manifesting, in each perishable costume, the imperishable self manifesting. Samam, in all dissimilar, the self is the same. In many, he is one. In dissimilar, he is same. In perishable, imperishable. In incomplete, the complete. In limited, the limitless. Yaf pashyati, so pashyati. Lord Krishna says, one who sees that really sees. So two kinds of seeing is there. In the perishable, so what we see is many, perishable, divided. Other vision is seeing one imperishable, undivided whole, which is very much there. But Swamiji, how do you see one in many? What do I have to do? Some different kind of glasses are required? No, Lord Krishna invites us to see one in many, the same and dissimilar, the imperishable and perishable. Is Lord Krishna asking us to put on different kind of glasses to see that? Says no, there is not the perception through eyes or sense organs. It is the perception, the drishti or the vision in the mind. The pratiti, the perception is of many. The drishti, the vision is of one. Swami, how do you do that? Just as the mother saw in that Yamaraja her son. You know what happened in the mind of the mother? That she know the costume was subtracted from the Yamaraja and she saw her son in that. So we need to subtract something in our life. Not the costume. The subtraction in Vedanta is a different kind. This body, mind, sense is a costume. Subtraction doesn't mean we have to give up the costume. All we need to do is to give up the identification of the costume. Taking the body as I. So Lord Krishna gives a nice program to do that. Swamiji, how do I see that this is a costume? The body is not I, the mind is not I. How do I see that? Coming back to Swami Pratyabodhanandaji. To see that, you require a mind which enjoys purity, which enjoys a focus. To gain that mind that enjoys purity, called Shuddhan Antahkarana Shuddhi and Antahkarana Naishalyam. How do you do that, Swamiji? Again, Lord Krishna says, simple. Lord Krishna teaches a way of life. Not a way of life really. Just attitude in our life. Lord Krishna does not prescribe that we should change the way of life. Thank God, in the Gita it does not say anywhere that you should give up your action. Although Vedantins always say that. But then Lord Krishna is not so much in favor of giving up because he knows that you require to run this world. And if you give up the action, then who is going to run these things? Action doesn't have to be given up. It may be given up at some time again as Swami, but then what is to be given up? Or what is to be adopted is just the right attitude. Simple. In the words of Puja Swamiji, in every situation, two choices. One is doing what is convenient, other is doing what is right. Doing what I like versus doing what is right. Very simple formula, really. Doing what is right, whether you like it or not. Very often what is right is not what we like. Because when you go for lunch shortly, there are many things, which may not be right. I will not tell you the menu, but I know the menu. And I am myself waiting for that, I mean this talk is over. But I am afraid that these fellows offer banquet lunch, which may not necessarily be approved by these naturopaths and the health freaks, etc., etc. This fried stuff no good for you, Swamiji. Sweets are no good for you. This is no good for me. What you like is no good for you. Thank you. Looks like in life what we like is not good for us. Food is just an example. And I'm not suggesting that you apply this rule right away. Do what is right, not what you like. But in every situation, what is right is very simple, really. Not a big deal. What is right is just to be kind, that's all, that's right. To be honest, to be fair is not a they don't demand a great deal of things from us. Just to be kind, to be fair, to be honest. That is called being what is right. But sometimes I'm not kind, sometimes I'm not fair, sometimes I'm not honest. When I'm serving people, I'm given the charge, on that table where volunteers serve you. Suppose I'm in charge of serving you the kheer. Depends on who is there, how much kheer will I give, Whether I fill up that whole thing and give you, or just a little bit and give you, depends on who you are. Whether I like you or don't like you. I like you, automatically thing gets filled up. If I don't like you, simple value of fairness. To be fair, I have to control whether I like it or not, I must do that. So difficult, Swamiji. This one I can't give him. He doesn't deserve, does it? Meaning that my reactions and my notion, all of these have to be set aside to do a simple thing. We are living, life is, simple things are required. Just standing in line, talking to each other. And then we get, naturally we enjoy talking and then start talking loudly, etc. And then remember that the lecture hall door is open and there is somebody inside, the fellows are praying. Swamiji, no sooner meditation is over, I'm still meditating and people start just talking, right in front of me. Simple thing, just to keep quiet. When I told this to somebody, to some other group who was coming here, I said, please tell your people that you are conducting your program in our lecture hall. There is a temple and prayers are going on. So when your program is over, please ask them to keep quiet. If they want to talk, they can come out and talk. That person felt very hurt. You are telling that my people are no. I said, I'm not saying that. But the thing is that we consider it. So even just being simple, just to be considerate of others, what their simple needs are, and to be considerate that all right, even though I feel like talking, I just need to keep quiet right here. Simple things, just being kind, being fair, being honest, that's all that is required. No more than this. And this will give you moksha, this one. Because as our Swamiji said, in order to enjoy the absolute freedom, we must need relative freedom. This kindness and fairness and honesty, this simple value that nobody has to teach us, they give us relative freedom. This our Swami used to say, this is worshipping Ishvara. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manava. Worshipping by our every little action. How do you worship the Lord? Just by being kind and being fair and being honest. You worship Ishvara because there is Ishvara right in front of me. By being kind to that person, being honest to that person, I am just worshipping Ishvara in that person. Siddhim vindati manava. The simple values and attitudes in life. Our Piyush will be very happy. With this attitude, be a contributor rather than be a consumer. Another favorite expression of Swamiji. Transform yourself from being a consumer to a contributor. As Srini said, start with 1%. Then slowly next year 2%. Because it's difficult to let go. Our Swami, I'm not here to raise funds or something, but just I think of, what Swami to say. It is not fundraising speech or something like that. It just happens to be there. Danena adanam tara. He was very fond of quoting that mantra from Samaveda. Setum stara, setum stara, setum stara, etc. By danam, by charity, adanam tara. Non-charity. What is adanam? Danam means charity, adanam means, non-charity. What is non-charity? Swami said, incapability of giving. Something within me just does not permit me to do. But this applies to everything. Incapability of being kind. Something within me does not permit me to be kind, permit me to be honest, permit me to be charitable. The simple values. There is somebody inside, as Duryodhana said, Kenapi devena. Somebody is sitting in my heart, just dictates me and doesn't allow me to do this simple thing called dharma, called worshipping Ishvara. So it is true that we have to overcome somebody who is inside, some fellow who is greedy, some fellow who is insecure, somebody who is fearful. You know something? By doing that, we progressively overcome our sorrow. The way to become free from sadness or sorrow is just simple. To be kind, to be a contributor. When you are kind, you are a contributor. Kind, honest, fair. That is contribution. You progressively become free from sorrow. Would you believe that? How, Swamiji? Because what makes me sorrow? That fellow makes me sorrow. That fellow who prevents me from giving, the fellow who prevents me from being kind, that's the one that makes me sorrow. By being kind, by being fair, I subdue that person. And thus subdue his capacity to make me unhappy or sad. And thus I myself help myself. We don't need to do anything to become happy in our life, to become free from sadness. We did not blame anybody and we did not blame ourselves. Simple thing, just kind, honest, fair, and a little spirit of contribution. That brings us to what our Swami used to say, you are that siddhi called antahkarana shuddhi, purity, you become free from sorrow. You get relatively happy, loving. That's what you become, because that's what we are. And the next step of becoming absolutely happy is not far away. Then Swamiji comes and says, you are Brahman, you are love, you are happiness. That's easy to see. Thus, this vision of oneness requires practicing oneness. How do I practicing oneness? By being kind, I am practicing oneness. How? Because I can be only kind to you provided I respect you, or I respect as much as I respect myself. When I can treat you as I treat myself, then I can be kind. So kindness requires me to give up that division. Kindness, fairness, all these values or attitudes require me to give up that division. And thus I come closer and closer even to the oneness. So you discover relative oneness, relative love, relative happiness, which prepares the ground for absolute love or absolute happiness. So that's the vision of oneness. Oneness first in our day-to-day life by simply doing what is right. Why? Because all those values come from oneness. That kindness, etc., comes from oneness between you and I. Absolutely kindness is one who knows absolute oneness. That's what Lord Krishna says. Atmopamyena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna. Lord Krishna gives a very nice rule of thumb. Whenever you interact with somebody or respond to somebody, just ask yourself, how would you feel if you were in that position? Try to treat the other person as you treat yourself. So what is right is to treat you as I treat myself. But that's a tall order. But then when we try, so kindness enables me to try to do that. A day will come when I have the freedom. What is the freedom? To be able to treat you as I treat myself. That's called freedom. And that is when the oneness is recognized. So vision of oneness is vision of what is. Two steps. One, by living a life based on that oneness, which is a value. And secondly, recognizing that as my nature. That's called the jnanam. So karma yoga and jnana yoga. So this is our bhakti yoga and jnana yoga. This is the two-step process that is taught for the vision of oneness. Well, as our Swami Viditatmananda so beautifully said, how you can see a person can be compassionate, closer you are to oneness, more compassionate you are. Simple as that. Closer you are to oneness, more kind you are, more compassionate you are, more charitable you are. And this Swamiji was, I think, recklessly charitable. He was reckless in his compassion, reckless in compassion. Reckless, never looked at what will happen to him, never looked. Until he become reckless, that shows a sense of security, that there is no fear at all. That fellow is completely dissolved. There is nobody to come in the way of his charity or his contribution. And just to remove that ignorance, that person, that's called ignorance, is the process. Simple process. Just living life every moment, asking myself, what is right? And what is right is to be kind, is to be charitable, is to be fair, is to be honest, not a tall orderer. It will become a tall order as we start practicing it. I realize that it becomes more and more demanding, and more demanding. It requires us to grow, and we can grow. As Swami used to say, how much can we grow? Up to a point beyond which there is nothing to grow. That all potential we have. So that vision of oneness is what Vedanta teaches us. Again, we seek the blessings of Puja Swami, that we are all on the track. There is no question about it. Everybody is on the track. And so, our Bada Swami used to say, there is no difference between you and I. Maybe I am a little here and you are a little there. That's the only difference. No other difference at all. Everybody is on the pilgrims of the same destination. And so, with grace of the Lord Dakshinamurti and our Puja Swamiji and the scriptures, that all of you, including myself, reach that goal, which is the most cherished goal in our life. Om.